What's going on, traders? Welcome to my stream. Today's Saturday, Sunday. Sunday. I don't know which Sunday it is. So the market has been pretty interesting. We have had a lot of movers. The majority of the movers happened starting with Tuesday. VFS kind of was the only one that squeezed a bunch. The stock squeezed from I don't know, like $20 or something, and we're up now and into like the 75s. So this mover went up I don't know, like 5 days. Actually, I think it went up like 4 or 5 days in a row. And after that, we had a lot of sympathy momentum, and we had a bunch of movers. Actually, on Friday, the Fed started speaking, and it kind of got pretty quiet. But we got some movers. I mean, on Tuesday we had VFS that went from 20 to I don't know, like 45 or something, and that was on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday and Thursday we had movers, and then on Friday we still had VFS. So each day we had about 2 to 3 to 4 movers, and it ended up I ended up making money, and I'll tell you like my mistakes and my train of thought, how I traded this week. Anyway, I live stream each morning for my subs, starting with around 8 o'clock up until 9 o'clock. Then I go on YouTube Live for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Then I continue on for my subscribers that you can sign up below, and I live stream from 9:30 till about 10:30, 11. And that's been the routine so far. And I'll show you exactly what kind of opportunities you're gonna get from the market. Anyway, so links in the description below. So we're gonna start out with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and show you like how. All right, so starting off with Monday. Monday I had a pretty nice movers. Actually, there was a discussion I think in the chat room. The discussion in the chat room, I mean, we had some trader that was feeling a bit depressed. I known him for a while, and you just can't show up in the chat room being depressed because you're going to influence the whole entire people there. So I ended up muting him, and now hopefully he got over his depression. So he had some good calls. A lot of people go through ups and downs, and the chat room is kind of like a community. If one of them is sick, the other people get sick also. So I gotta, put the sick people away to stay very neutral at all times. And anyway, so I ended up making a pretty good bang. I mean, the ticker I tried trading. I think that pretty much gave me pretty much a headache. Was timber. I was initially long a bunch, and I had the right idea, the right stop, the right entry, and it was just a bit choppy and went absolutely nowhere. This was the acquisition kind of news, and it went absolutely nowhere. So that's kind of like how it is. Stocks that have um, acquisition is just they don't perform that well, and this one had not. So once a company acquired for the other company, anyway. So I had the right idea, and I didn't hold on to my stop loss because I don't know. There were some comments in the chat room that this is like a long-term hold. It ended up going absolutely nowhere. It was nowhere near to be a long-term hold. I give everybody that comes into the chat room and wins. Sometimes I kind of listen to them because if you're there for a long enough time, might as well be profitable. And sometimes these individuals end up coming with great win streaks. And but in this situation, I was listening and I didn't honor my stop loss because a lot of people had a bullish bias on this, and I ended up taking a loss. So that's kind of like started my week off wrong, and I ended up making the loss back. I ended up going long, going short, and then I ended up doing absolutely nothing. So that was kind of like a dud. So duds do happen. I want to let you know that trading is very easy when you come in and you make a lot of money, and you come in and you nail it, and everything works out. What I want you guys to focus on is when it doesn't work out, and then you know don't know how to mitigate or get yourself stop out, you know, to not be. I mean, trading is easy when you trade the right ticker at the right time with the right price, and you get out. But once you get, you know, you get stopped out and it's just doesn't go anywhere, you're just gonna have one big headache and you're gonna hate trading. So Timber ended up just doing absolutely nothing, and then you know, I actually Ahi ended up doing absolutely nothing. You can see how choppy Ahi was, and Ahi didn't end up giving any kind of range whatsoever. I mean, the most amount of range Ahi did on Monday was around. I mean, it broke $5, hit 550, and I average at least 10%. So even if you were perfect, I mean, you can see how choppy this ticker was. I mean, I took it long as it was breaking the downtrend of five, and then it hit 540, and I thought it was gonna break the highs of 550 because the daily looked pretty good, and we go towards six, and it just ended up going absolutely freaking nowhere. And that happens all the time. I actually got stopped out on like two positions on Monday, and it only ended up being like, you know, the third stocks was, which was SXTX, that I came in long, and I nailed it at, you know, 30, and I sold at 35, and I pretty much fat fingered that trade. You know, that's what I call an easy trade. 27 to 37. I mean, that's really nice range, 27 to 37. That's about, I don't know, 30% range there. As you can see, there were a bunch of them that, you know, didn't have range that morning. Timber was an acquisition, and then Ahi gapped up to five, went up 10 cents, and then sold off. And it was just, you know, it had potential, and it was like at all time high volume too. Usually, when you have all time high volume, it just pushes, you know, pushes into, you know, I thought it's gonna do 660 or whatever. It was just was not the case, and sometimes it's just you just take it long and it doesn't work. You take it long and it doesn't work, and you just need to stop out for 10 cents and let it go. It's just trading. It's not. Sometimes you're just not gonna have that 70% accuracy. 70% accuracy, it's very difficult to get in the stock market. Anyway, it was difficult this week. So after then Tuesday came around, I did take two losses, but you can see so that my losses were pretty much small size. Saidu and XELA. I mean, the story actually repeated on that was Timber. That was the 22nd. That was 22nd. That was, sorry, 21st. 21st, 22nd. So I gotta, so you can see, like, let me see if that's a VFLS. So I ended up making on VFS. Let me see, where is VFS? So let's see. So it looks like my Tuesday's not here. So I'm gonna log in real quick into my right here, into my there we go. So my Tuesday stuff is not here, so I'm gonna log into my Tuesday stuff. There's my Tuesday stuff. So there we go. 1 second. YouTube scans. No, that's where it is. All right, so 1 second. So my Tuesday ones weren't here. There we go. So let's see, 1 minute. Having some technical difficulties here. There it is, my Tuesday. Tuesday was, there we go. Weekend. There we go. 1 second. There we go. So now we're moving on to Tuesday. Tuesday was pretty interesting. I mean, I had the most you can see that I made was in VFS after taking two stop losses. So it was very rocky in the beginning of the week. I came in and everything that I did, you just was just getting stopped out and getting stopped out, and just that's kind of like the name of the game. You can see so Saido here on Tuesday, we just gapped up and sold off. Like we had a little bit of depression going on because we had 40% or 30% gainers just selling off. You can see how difficult it would be to make. You know, if you were perfect on Saido, the most you could make was 10%. This was Saidu, so I ended up taking a loss. Actually, I just thought we are gonna do VWAP reclaim and we're gonna go. So you can see that So from 16 we gap up to 20 cents. So that's technically a 30% gap up. And after 30% gap up, it only ended up going like 10%, which was very sad. So the range was just not there yet. So we got um Saidu, I took a loss. And then you have AXLA, which I actually stopped out right pretty well. You can see, so another one, we just gapped up. I don't know, what was it, 0.75. We gapped up to 28. So it was a 30, 40, 50% gapper that we just got gapped up and sold off. So we had, in the beginning of the week, we had multiple 30% gappers that just gapped up and went absolutely nowhere. And that's part of doing business. I mean, if you want to, I don't really like, usually when we have 20, 30%, 30, 40% gappers is when we actually have the big movers. We're in a bottomless pit kind of action. So we had 30, 40, 40 to 50% gappers on Tuesday that sold off. And then finally we had VFS. VFS that I end up, actually I was really tired, to tell you the truth. I ended up taking it long after I got stopped out like 2 times in a row, and I just held on to my position from 22, and I ended up selling at the end of the day, and I went for a nap. That's kind of like how I ended up making 7,200 on that day, by taking a nap. By you can see, so Monday that I was just chopped out, just no range, chopped out, no range, and then I finally made a 20% gain. And my I do I do manage to, let me see that Ahi over there. Ahi was there we go. So there we go. So we had Saidu. So in the first beginning of the week, I was just not making contact with these things. I ended up only starting making contact. Monday was flat. Tuesday was green on VFS of just giving up kind of. I just was like 30%, 40% gappers are selling off. I'm like, the end of the world is coming. The end is near. And that's kind of like when you're in a bottomless pit kind of price action. And I'm sure a lot of traders saw VFS and they was like, oh my god, finally a stock that's running. And I think a lot of short sellers got stuck because that on Tuesday was the day where everything started working, and VFS started running from like 18 up to 46. So after the 30, 40% gappers pretty much sold off, which was very, very sad to see 30, 40% gappers, because you buy them and you're like, well, that's it. It's just going to go down from here. It's very disappointed for a trader to show up and have less than 10% range to work with. That's possibly, that's a no trade day possibly. So you can see VFS, I actually took it long at like 23 after I was like, oh, 2 stop losses in a row. I'm showing up Tuesday, I'm having 2 stop losses in a row, and I ended up holding this ticker with like, I don't know how many shares I had. I think I had like 300 shares or 500 shares, just a small amount. And from 23, and I ended up selling it like at 36, right about into the close, just at 39. So that ended up being my monster trade of the day. It probably due to luck, probably due to the exhaustion, because I got stopped out 2 times in a row. So that ended up going pretty well. That ended up putting me green on the week. Hold on, let me see. Let me go back to my screenshots of what happened. There we go. So moving on to Wednesday. There we go, Wednesday. Now we're on Wednesday. There we go. Weekend streams. Now we're on Wednesday. So Wednesday VFS, very simple. I was trying to go short here, risking off yesterday's close, 36.6, and I started short a little bit too soon, and then I pretty much got stopped out, and that ended up being a loss in VFS. So you can see, so here. And actually on Wednesday we had a big mover, which was VCIG. This is VCIG right here, which I nailed completely correctly. You can see a downtrend break right about here, 550 break, and we hit about an 8. So I ended up making a huge gain on this one from like 560 to 750. I made like $2 a share. So after we had this VCIG that, sorry, after we had, not Ahi, after we had VFS, VFS, where is VFS? You gotta bear with me. VFS. Where is VFS? I have lots of tickers here. So after we had VFS, we had a lot of sympathy. There's VFS. So after we had this big move of VFS, 18 to 45 would have had a lot of sympathy momentum, and that sympathy momentum was VCIG. It starts with a V. The other one starts with a V. The other one starts with a V. I ended up making pretty good bank on it. I actually went long on it on at like 58 and right here we had a 1 minute candle that pulled all the way back down to 520, and I was holding through my cojones when it went there, and then immediately came back up and shot up. Really nasty price action. I ended up making a huge gain, 590 out at 740. I ended up making a huge gain despite the fact that I started short in VFS because I thought it was just going to be the end of it. Um, so right here I started short in at 34 right there. That's where I started short, and we just spiked up to 45 there. So I got stopped out trying to go short on Wednesday in VFS, and I actually went long in VCIG and made $2 a share. So right now, things are looking better. I would have to say. Thursday, I ended up making really good gains. I believe BRSH, VFS. I tried to short. I tried to short again VFS, and I went long ELIQ. So I had like two really nice trades here. On Thursday, things got better. I started short BRSH. So part of the VFS. So right now we have this sympathy momentum going on here. We had the VFS, the VCIG, and BRSH showed up. And this ticker showed up. I mean, I was looking at threes, and I'm like, I'm not liking this. This stock doesn't even have news. It's all a bunch of fluff. And soon enough, we were just some momentum traders just going along on this ticker. And I shorted it because there was no reason for this piece of crap to be up. So soon enough, I shorted the $4 line and I covered into the 270. That was like the greatest trade of all time. I think that was a great trade. $1.30 a share. That was a great short, perfect short. So on Thursday, I ended up starting short again on VFS. That was the third time I tried to go short VFS. So I started shorting into like the 38s. Then I cover or 39s. Then I covered into the 45s. Then I went long at 48s, and then I went out at 45. So it was just a really mixed bag on VFS, going long and short. I ended up being red on it. That was just just trying to mitigate the loss. It's just VFS. I think VFS squeezed everybody to hell throughout the whole time. I mean, every single time. I mean, I went long the first day, 20 to 45. I went short and I got stopped out. And then I went short again. I got stopped out and I went long and then remade the loss. So it was just like every single time, whatever I did to VFS was just not working because this doesn't happen really that often from 20 to 75. So I kind of fought this stock this whole entire week. Then I had ELIQ here. ELIQ started running in the middle of the day. I think I posted a screenshot on Thursday about this $2 191 break, and then I messaged everybody that I was long at like around 205. And soon enough, I sold it at 250 way too soon. ELIQ was the only perfect trade that I actually took on this one. I nailed it on front side and also on the back side because I shorted on Friday. I made $2,000 on the back side. So ELIQ came out really nicely. ELIQ over here ended up making four and end up, I don't know, let me see if I can find ELIQ somewhere here. ELIQ, let me see. So we're on Thursday right now. ELIQ went and going long at 2, went selling at 250. End up getting a good green. I also shorted on you can see that I shorted VCIG on Thursday. Actually, what happened was I tried to go short VCIG right here at 640. It was a great short, and then I covered for flat just because I just kept getting stopped out in VFS. So it's just I got stopped out multiple times in VFS, and I was like, what if this ticker is gonna squeezed me out again? VCIG, I came in, started shorting 640, and I saw this 1 minute candle go up over 640, and I got scared and I ran. So on Thursday, it should have been a huge gain on the VCIG over here, shorting it from the 640, covering to the 540s because it did exactly what I wanted to. The problem is that I shorted. I tried to short VFS too much. I tried to short it here, tried to short it here, and I actually tried to short it on Friday too. So I was fighting this ticker a lot. So it's just that's probably it. That's probably it. That's probably my mistake. I just kept fighting this ticker because that's not normal. And and sometimes, and I'm sure a lot of people got squeezed on VCIG. So we had ELIQ on Thursday. We had VCIG short on Thursday. We had VFS. Actually, this thing was a buy at 45 because it pretty much hit, I don't know, like 58. And BRSH, this thing was a buy because it went from 3 to like 440 up on no news. So pretty good on Thursday. Thursday was pretty good despite the fact that I was fighting VFS. VFS, it was just a pain in the butt. So, and then we start out with Friday, greens and reds. A lot of battle, I would have to say. Nothing really substantial. YS was like a 90 milli float on Friday that gapped up, I don't know, like 90%. And I thought it was going to sell off, and soon enough it did. And then we came back down to the entry. A lot of chop and and then the Fed started speaking. Nothing was moving. So, and we also had VFS here that I started short again at 58, and I covered at 60, and soon enough we ran to 74. So I did fight VFS a lot. The only good trade I did, it was in ELIQ on Friday, shorting 280, risking off 3, and then I covered at 236. You can see so that let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find my Friday trade. You can see so that ELIQ I ended up doing pretty good. 280, exit 235. So I do have losses. I would have to say it was a big mixture of things this Friday. Probably I was a little bit upset. If I were gonna review Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, is I nailed SXTC 30 to 37. That's great. And there was a bunch of just you had this timber, which pretty much was an acquisition that went absolutely nowhere. So you go long and it goes nowhere. So it's just a pain in the butt. You had an ahi, just no range, 10%. And then you have, I think on Tuesday, SXTC. I don't know. I have to go look on all these tickers. It was just a lot of very a lot of tickers that didn't work out. The only tickers that started working out was after VFS. After VFS went from 20 to like 45, things started to work out more. We had VCIG that ended up working really well on Wednesday. We had, VCIG gave a secondary pullback over here and like the 680 up to the 9. And, then we had BRSH that gave a nice range, 3 to 4, and then sell off. So and then we had a lot of 30-40% gappers that sold off. And then VFS was just kept going. And then you had a midday spiker, ELIQ, $2 to 360. And then, you had a lot of, a lot of shorts, like, you can see so that the shorts pretty much were, you can see so that, usually 9 out of 10 times, you have 1 day wonders. You have VCIG, where you had a 1 day wonder and the next day was red. You had, BRSH, 1 day wonder, the next day is red. And, you had ELIQ, 1 day wonder, and the next day red. So we had a lot of opportunity to short the second red day if it opens up red. And we had VFS that just continues to dip and to rip to freaking 75 now. That's how high this ticker went. So um I'm green on the week. It's just it was a lot of fighting and a lot of 30-40% gappers selling off, and a lot of no range. We had like each day we did have. I mean, in the beginning of the week, we had one mover that gave 20% range on Monday. Tuesday we had another mover that gave 20% range, 20% potential profit, but we had a lot of like 30, 40, 50% gappers that just gapped up and sold off. So we had one opportunity Monday and Tuesday, and then once VFS started moving, I mean, things started opening up more, and we started having like two, three, four movers that gave, more than 20, 30, 40% intraday potential profit. So I like thinking in percentage points because that's kind of like how it is. And a lot of these, and what my problem was is that I fought VFS front side every single time that we started opening up just a little bit red on the pre-market. I started fighting it front side. That's probably my mistakes. And my mistake is just, holding too long those 30-40% gappers that eventually sold off. Just because the latest thousand we had a million thousand percent movers, and everything, and you're used to 50% gainers intraday, does not mean every day the leading gapper is going to run 100 or 120%. So my mistakes, I would have to say, is just, trying to hold a long position in a 30-40% gainer and not cutting losses quickly, and fighting VFS front side and not cutting losses when I should have. The other ones, I was really perfect on all the other ones. That's kind of like, if I look at all my trades of all the other ones that I mean, if I look at all my trades, I mean, you can see, so ELIQ, I nailed it front side, $2. I sell 250. I nailed it perfectly. And then ELIQ, I shorted 280, covered 235. So that was a home run trade. VFS fighting front side again. Uh, even YS, I shorted YS like, well, a little too soon, 125, but we still had 10% range there. And then even VCIG, I shorted correctly, and then I pretty much got chickened out because VFS kept screwing me up. There's ELIQ, there's VFS again. BRSH, I could have went long front side, but I nailed the short side. VCIG, nailed it perfectly. Bought the front side, and I left it alone. I made the meat of the move there. VCIG, nailed the front side. And then, VFS is just, it just went red to green on me. So and then right here, no range. Right here, no range. Right here, I nailed this one. So there was a lot of tickers in which I could have avoided that were just no range, no range, and then SXTC. So a lot of a lot of 30-40% gappers selling off, which was just pretty depressing for a day trader to trade the overall market. When you see 30-40% gainers sell off, I just kind of get a headache because there's not much you can do, because it's not really worth shorting 30-40% gainers, because at any day, they could just buy the dip when it dips down like 10%, and they just can squeeze it up 200% intraday, and they could just blow all those shorts out. So it's not really worth the risk to short 30-40% gainers. Um, and then the other ones, I was just fighting frontside VFS. That's kind of like what my week has been like. I don't know how you guys your week has been like, but each day I try to stream. Each day I try to stream on my I think my mobile trading station here with my Razer Blade laptop and my what is it called, my my headphones, which are the Razer latest headphones, which you can hear me clearly. And that's about it. I fought VFS frontside, and that was along the whole way because it's very unusual for a stock to go multiple days in a row. So that doesn't happen that often. As you can see, like every single gainer, we had a one-hit wonder, and then we had a red day and the end afterwards. So and we had a lot of 30-40% gainers that sold off, and the reason why some of the traders got a little bit depressed. But if you get depressed, there's no reason for you to get depressed. Like I say, the greatest light comes when in the darkest hour or something like that. And that's exactly what happened. We had the greatest light came into the darkest hours. I mean, you can look like what happened. VCIG went from 550 to 8. The greatest light showed up in the after the darkest hour, and then we had VCIG went to freaking 9 that day, 550 to 9 that day, and then after that we had BRSH. That's two in a row that had range from 250 to 450, and then we had another ticker which was ELIQ. That's three of them that had range. I don't know what that is, 150 to 350. That's three of them that had range, and then that's about it. That's it. So we had three really nice movers, I would have to say, and VFS, of course, that went forever, and I was trying to fight it front side. Other than that, yeah, hope you guys yeah, like I stream my ideas every single day, and you talk about where each direction of the stock works, and that's about it. Nothing I could have done different. Just the nature of the game. Reading the comments. Don't see any comments. Other than that, you guys have a good one. Enjoy your uh, weekend, and yeah, I'll be more mindful, I guess, to not fight VFS front side, and to not get, don't let, if you get stopped out on 30-40% gainers that sell off, just get stopped out and leave. There's no reason to just hang around and be like, hey, maybe there's gonna be this midday mover that's gonna run 1,000%. That's not something you. So 30, 40, 50% gainers start selling off. Forget it. Just leave. You tried it. It didn't work. You got stopped out. You executed the plan. It's part of doing business. And you just wait for the next day. You don't just hang around for 14 hours straight waiting that 1 out of 20 times like ELIQ is going to go midday blowing up, because you're just going to get burned out and depressed. So, in VFS, try not to fight frontside as much as I did, and try to buy it, buy it. Just because stocks go up 5 days in a row. Yes, stocks go up 5 days in a row, and the other 4 out of 5 stocks just go down the second day after the big run. Yes, but VFS went 5 days straight up every day. Yeah, that's totally normal. Totally normal. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no unusual activity there. There's just me fighting the probability of that happening. So don't get yourself in trouble trying to short VFS to get blown up. Maybe it's gonna go to 100 next week. Other than that, have a good one and see you all later. Peace out.